National Road Safety Week runs from November 15 to November 22 this year. It's a time to reflect on how we drive and how we can do our best every time to get ourselves and all the road users we encounter home safely to their families. The statistics are sobering. In 2019, nearly 1,200 people didn't get home alive after their journeys. Another 40,000 were seriously injured in road crashes. At ARRB, we have a dedicated transport safety team who work with government and industry to help implement the vision of zero deaths and serious injuries on our roads. Tia Gaffney is one of the leaders of that team, and we speak to her today about transport safety and some of the initiatives that ARRB is taking to help in the road safety cause. We now live in a different world to the one we started 2020 in. There's the spectre of COVID-19 is pretty much over everything we do. What has COVID-19 changed or influenced in the road safety space?
Well, most people would notice a generally less traffic on the roads. So there's been a general decrease in traffic over the period nationally. Some states obviously more so than others. But with that, concurrently, we've seen also an increase in the freight task. So a lot more heavy vehicle travel. We've also seen a lot more motorcycles on the road, and that may be perhaps due to the food delivery service industry. But generally, there's been about a 25% increase in motorcycle sales compared to last year. Bicycles also significantly increased in bicycle sales, about 12% more bike sales than last year. And some communities have even started to see things like pop-up bike lanes and sort of different infrastructure than they would have seen prior. So what this really means is there's a different mix of traffic possibly on the road, and combined with a significantly less traffic generally, what we're maybe seeing is some high speed differentials between different vehicle types, so some more sort of high speed crashes potentially, as well as lots of crashes with vulnerable road users.
ARRB's featured data during the restrictions showing the effect of the restrictions on travel during the COVID period. Do you think data in general is used well enough in road safety?
Well, we've really seen this year the importance of data. And not only data, charts and projections, and specifically modeling of, where we are, where we think we're going, where we might be going if we change some things. So we've seen that happening in real time. So we're able to see yesterday's data today. And we can imagine what it would be like for our leaders to be making decisions in the absence of that kind of data. So that real-time data, and it just doesn't happen. In road safety, the recent parliamentary inquiry into road safety, the national inquiry, highlighted one key theme, which is the absence of adequate data in road safety. And so what they've highlighted is that it takes a considerable time to have any knowledge about crashes that are occurring. It's typically about 12 months. So today, we're learning about crashes that happened about 12 months ago. And it's simply impossible to make decisions that we need to make with data that's that old. And so ARRB has really been leading an initiative to develop a national crash investigation unit to be able to have access to that data much quicker than we currently have in order to make those decisions that we need to make.
So Australia's always tended to focus on what we call the road toll, the amount of people who die annually on the roads. Is this too singular a focus, or are there measures maybe that we need to focus on more than just a headline figure perhaps?
Yeah, each year we lose on the order of 1,200 people every year on the roads in Australia. And sadly, it's the leading cause of death for children aged under 15. And it's the second leading cause of death for our youth aged between 15 and 24. And beyond these fatalities, we also have about 40,000 hospitalized injuries every year in Australia on the road. And you might say, well, so what? What does that mean? It equates to about $30 billion of economic spending every year. So that's $30 billion that we don't get to spend on our schools, on the environment, on our health, and on a better future.
Modelling has become a real buzzword through COVID-19. We're talking about rolling averages and hotspots to try and mitigate the spread of the virus and keep people safe. Is there a way that we do something maybe similar for road crashes, like model or forecast them and use that to help modify behaviours and reduce the number of people injured and killed on our roads?
Absolutely. So modeling, we've seen some really advanced modeling this year. And I think we've seen also how accurate that modeling can be if we have the right data. And again, it goes back to the underlying data and the importance of the collection of that data. So ARRB is a data-driven organization. We have very high-tech equipment. We can go out on the road. We can measure any number of things, surface texture, roughness, where potholes are occurring, the line marking and whether or not it's present, whether or not it's high enough quality for a vehicle to read, for example, things like signage. So there's lots of different data sets that we have access to. And yes, the reality is we already have the ability to model where we think crashes are going to occur in the future. So that enables us to have that proactive vision of what we think is going to happen into the future. And hopefully it enables us to be able to change some things in order to reduce those outcomes in the future.
What is some of the important work that ARRB is doing in the road safety space?
Yeah, it's an exciting time. I mean, I think in 2020, we've seen the great lengths that Australians are willing to go to protect others, and particularly the most vulnerable. It really is no different at all in the road safety space. And this is why we really are trying to highlight this year to everyone that road safety is really at heart a community issue. We've heard recently the National Office of Road Safety talking about the social model approach to road safety. And what that really means is it's about embedding road safety in business as usual. So it's about making it transcend through all the layers of our lives, from driving to school, driving to work, even as you do your job and you're on the road. Things like freight and that gray area between the workplace and the road. So it's about really getting that embedment all the way through these systems. And ARRB is really happy to be a part of that work, and we're going to continue that throughout this year.
Now, ARRB is involved in producing a best practice guide which focuses specifically on road safety. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, quite simply, we need to stop designing roads that we know will kill people. So this year, 2020, the federal budget has just announced $2 billion will be spent on road safety initiatives, with a large emphasis on safer road infrastructure. Now, ARRB has recently been out in local government areas. We were engaged by Queensland TMR last year to go out and deliver a series of local council workshops on road safety. And at those workshops, one key theme was highlighted, and that was that local councils need and want some practical advice, practical tools that will enable them to achieve more successful road safety outcomes. We know that in local areas and in local communities that we have a lot of serious injury crashes happening on the road. And so this is an area that if we don't address, we will never see that decline in road trauma happening all throughout Australia. So ARRB is really pleased to be able to announce that the next local government guide will be entitled Safer Road Infrastructure. This will be intended to be a practical guide to address those local government concerns and with practical tools and practical advice and easy to use. So please stay tuned for that. There will be more information soon.